my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out of triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera acting like I'ma show them how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute.
Peace and blessings. Welcome to the B2M Crew podcast, where it's basically 5 of us sharing a friendship of over 40 years, 100 years of marriage, 13 children from that marriage, 12 of them being boys, and us just chopping it up about issues that we hope it can benefit people. Not so much, again, as a how-to, but a how we did it. And so we're shooting here from the Code Building, which is a unique and innovative retail and commercial office development featuring flexible space alternatives for a co-working space. So thanks so much for the Code Building for all of this. Fellas, I got Joaquin next to me, Talik, JG, Nuevo Black.
Yo. What's up?
What are we
What
chopping
up?
up about today, fellas?
What's good? What's the subject?
Hey, what's up, man? As you know, we have our email address, bbravo2mcrew5@gmail.com. So if you have any questions that you want us to talk about, shoot us an email and we'll be more than happy to talk about it. Today's email is from a lady said, I bought my 12-year-old son a cell phone because he's sometimes home alone after school, or at other times, and wherever he is, I always want to be able to be in touch with him. The other day, I noticed he was hiding a screen from me when I walked past him. When he went to bed, I picked up his phone that was charging and found out that he had set up a password, even though he was told not to. When I told him to let me look at his phone the next morning, he immediately started crying. Found out he was looking at a lot of women on TikTok, and the pictures were of women barely dressed and talking about sex. Where do I start with correcting him?
So it's a social media question. How we handle social media and our kids.
Is correction necessary in this situation?
Did she put an age or not? Was it
She
an
said
age?
12.
12.
She said
Okay,
12.
I thought, okay, I
Yeah.
thought so.
Social media.
Yeah.
Wow.
Where does you begin? Does it need correcting? For most, some people they don't feel that it does need correcting.
Right.
So I get, well, for me, looking back on, again, of course, in our day, we didn't have social media. But when I guess it became something concerning for me with, again, my youngest, because I guess it was at the height of, of social media at his age. And I believe, we took a minute before we even gave him a cell phone. 12 might have been, I don't even think we would have considered giving him a cell phone at 12.
Do you feel like
Yeah.
that's a necessity, or is it just a want?
Because of that situation, like she said, which as far as being in contact and that sort of thing, if you were 12 today, or maybe even a few years ago, yeah, it may have been something different. But at the time, we didn't see it necessary. 12, we would still probably consider that for him to be too young to need a cell phone, because and it wasn't even the way it is now. With all the social media and just, having.
So what was the barometer for, what was your measuring stick? All right, he's ready now. What's the difference between 12 or 13 or 13, 14 or 14, 15? Like, what did you say, okay, now is the time that I can give you this cell phone? What was that age?
Well, for me personally, it had to do, I guess, with his activity.
Okay.
As his activity increased with regards to after school, whether it was band or sports, wrestling, or whatever. So it became, I think, more of a thing in high school, a necessity, I felt, as opposed to middle school.
So he didn't get a phone till he was in like 14 in 9th grade?
Probably, I think so.
Okay. All right.
And then I believe, and it seemed to be more of a norm, I guess, if you will. You know what I mean? That at that age and that time that that they should have a cell phone and could at least be responsible and mature enough for it.
I don't know, 14 might have been cool like 10 years ago. I think 14 a little late now.
No,
I don't know.
I said then.
Hey, bro.
I know.
Yeah.
They giving them the toddlers now, man.
But
They
now-
giving them the
so-
babies.
yeah,
So
so
what?
now-
I mean,
Well, what if
her being
we had
12,
kids
him
now?
12.
What age would you do? I'm just curious. What age would you hand them a phone?
Well, let me tell you this. Tyreek had a phone. He was 8 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I was, trying to resist against it. But my mother gave him a phone, and she was paying the bill, right? Stop laughing,
Grandmas.
right? And I was
My
like,
baby gonna talk to me.
like,
My baby
Now
gonna be the
let me- now
hotline.
let
He
me-
got to ask his mom or daddy to talk to granny.
right. So let me help you out. We live in Atlanta. His grandmother lived in Charlottesville. So,
VA.
Charlottesville, Virginia, right. So, that was her way of communicating with her grandchild, and didn't have to pick up the phone and call long distance, or had to ask, us, can we use your phone? No, boy, go sit down. You know what I mean? Like grandma can call directly to, her grandchild, and so I already knew. I said to myself, boy, I already know, Mom, why are you doing this so soon, right? And I understood where she was coming from. But I mean, regardless, Tyreek wanted one, and you know how grandmothers are, right? They gon' hey, look, grandma's job
It's
is
your
to
job
do
to
this,
raise them.
right?
It's her job to spoil them.
Spoil them, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing was, I said, Mom already know in 3 to 6 months that bill gonna be ours, and I don't even think it lasts that long,
But was
And,
it limited though to her only though? I guess, or did you, what
I
I'm saying?
mean,
Was it just?
well,
you let him
my aunt
take it
lived
out-
in Seattle,
out the house
so
and
they used to call and talk to him all the time. So
No, I meant as far as like, could he go to take it to school and everything with him, or did he have to keep it at home and stuff?
nah, not really taking it to school,
Right.
just keeping it at home and stuff like that.
See, something like that is
But-
okay. I would think.
But
I would have thought.
but yeah, it was definitely different,
And okay, let me say this: at 8 years old, I mean, TikTok wasn't even out when Tyreek was 8, right? So now we talking about a
IG, none of
phone,
that.
right?
Yeah.
We talking about a phone to maintain contact through text or voice call, communications,
Great point.
versus social media, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
Because and again, I don't even have TikTok. I got IG, Facebook, or whatever.
He got TikTok, man. No, I was
B2M got TikTok, though?
B2M does.
Oh, okay.
but we all know, we just recently heard about the algorithm in this country versus the algorithm in China
What's
and
that?
what it's doing. The
In case
algorithm here is
if
just
some of the
foolishness.
audience didn't know.
Yeah,
They haven't seen it.
It's just foolishness. To simply put it here, in China, it's steering kids towards being an architect, being an
STEM.
engineer,
Educational
STEM.
stuff.
Yeah, educational stuff, and it's limited as far as time constraints and that sort of thing.
That's the word anyway.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And we just watching people
I
fall
believe
off their
You
skateboard.
can't even go to the house over there if you got COVID. I believe they're
Yeah.
controlling that, right? And TikTok started in China.
Yeah.
It used to be called WeChat or something, and then because even now the government has passed bills. I think it's either state government that they don't want to do business. You can't have TikTok on government phones because they're concerned about China's encrypting and whether the government has
And the
access
privacy
to the
issues and stuff like
but
that.
I like what John said because he made a distinction between having a phone and using a social media inappropriately, right? Because really, I think this is one of those things like when Joaquin said we can get outdated, right? I don't even have a house phone right now.
Right.
My house phone
None of us do. Yeah.
is a fax number.
I got one.
Oh, you got a
Nah,
Only reason
okay.
only reason I have a telephone line in my house is because you need it when you have Wi-Fi. They have to have a telephone line to do files or something, whatever they do it, right? I don't even know the phone number. You know what I'm saying? So since that's been outdated for a minute, like in terms of us using house phones, now the phone is a mobile communication resource.
Right.
Like for me, I didn't have rules. I'm gonna tell you, when my kids got a phone? When I had to upgrade my phone, now I got an extra phone.
Right.
Here,
right.
you can have
right.
this one. The oldest one. Next time I upgrade, hey, next time your phone. Right? But my point was, I had, for a couple of years, my kids were latchkey kids, Jeremiah and Haki. So there was no way for me to know they got on the bus. So at 5th grade, I told Jeremiah, he was responsible, he was smart. I was like, yo, text me when you get on the bus. You know what I'm saying? Text me when you get on the bus. So he would be, we on the bus. The one day he didn't text me, I'm calling the school. Oh, he's here. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was a resource for me as a person in the email said, I want to be able to contact him wherever he or she is. I don't care if you go with my brother over to his house.
I want to be able to reach you if I have the availability to do so. You know what I'm saying? I don't care where it is. Social media is a whole nother ball game because now the question that is, how early or soon did you allow them to have a social media account?
Correct.
TikTok,
Right.
Instagram. And to me, I do think it's something wrong with it because at too young of an age, I told my brother once, man, I was like, he didn't even know what TikTok was till you like, Rodney, he didn't have TikTok. And I was like, yo, man, Jalen probably looking at some breasts on TikTok. I'm just letting you know. Because they're there. You can just open TikTok and you're going to get it. You can get whatever content you want. To the lady's point, he looking up women, talking about sex, women from probably 20 to 80, being sexy or whatever.
I hope he won't looking at 80 years.
Or man, so, hey, there's some little kids that might be freaks out there. But anyway, man, so the danger to me is I wouldn't, if it weren't TikTok, I don't want them watching some of the stuff you can see on TikTok on TV on Saturday morning when it's cartoon time or whatever. I don't want them looking at that stuff because it's not in context of me being able to explain the significance of it. And it's not just about the sexual stuff, right? It's about some of the other stuff that's just not age developmentally appropriate. So to me, I think the problem with TikTok is like, to me, and I'm not bashing sister who wrote in, but why does he have access to TikTok in a way that you don't have control set up to direct what he does on social media? Because all of them have parameters, just like you get TV where you can put it in so they can't go certain places.
Parental control.
So to me, the way you start is letting them know, hey, that's inappropriate. You shouldn't be looking at that. And then make sure you have the parameters in place because the inquisitive human mind is just going to take it there if it's available to him.
So it was too late? Or, I mean, as far as setting up parental controls, that sort of thing. Shouldn't she maybe have done that in the beginning, I guess?
Yeah, I think, but
Yeah.
she can still do it now. A lot of parents don't even know about those because I know Instagram putting commercials out now. And they say they can set it up so you can set it up so your child can only be on there at certain times,
Time
that's
limit.
good.
look at certain things and stuff of that nature. It's sort of like you gotta sort of be China to in your own household.
Mm.
One of the principles that I always try to instill in my sons is that there's a time to play and there's a time to work. Okay?
Okay.
When it's playtime, it's playtime. But when it's work time, it's work time. Okay? If we can teach that, that extends out into that phone and social media. You know what I mean? Because the second message I taught them when I handed them that phone is that this phone right here, this is a tool, not a toy. It's a tool, not a toy. Okay? Now you can play with it and you can play on it. Okay? So when you're on social media, you playing. You know what I mean? Now, if you running a business and building a brand and all that stuff, you could be working on social media, building your brand. But you could also use this to trade stock, trade cryptocurrency, research, all kind. This is a phenomenal toy
Right.
that has changed our world.
It's a tool.
Tool.
Right,
Yeah, this
right,
is a phenomenal tool that
Right.
has changed our world when used in the proper context.
Right.
Yes.
So if you use this the right way and use it as a tool, okay, so you can do all of those other things that may help you with your homework, whatever you're doing it with,
Yeah.
okay, and now you want to play with it on social media and you're playing, all right, that's fine. But if you had that fundamental principle that when it's playtime, but when it's work time, that right there, I believe, is what I tried to use to govern my kids when I gave them this tool and this toy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I hope they will use that as a way to govern themselves. You know what I mean? So I hate to say,
Yeah,
you
but-
know what I mean, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking
Well,
about.
John, what you think about the part of the email that says he put a password on it, even though he was instructed not to?
I ain't being slick.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's hiding something, right? And that would be my question. What you hiding?
Well,
You
just
had
You
it
saw
know
it.
exactly what he
You
had.
You
just
hiding
saw
it
it.
from me. You hiding it from your friends. And so obviously, she got to.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Oh, nah. All right, go
I
ahead.
know I was going to ask, has any of y'all ever checked your kid's phone? I'm just asking. Have you ever
I
picked up
have,
your
but
kid
it's
and
been
checked
a
his
minute.
phone?
It's been a minute.
How old was he? Like 12?
Nah, most recently when he busted that curfew. You know,
When he
and,
busted, when he
yeah,
came in a little late.
You did a forensic audit.
Yeah. He made me go through, and I was trying not to.
Forensic audit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
I went
But
through-
beyond that,
Yeah.
I haven't done that.
No,
What'd you find? Did you find anything inappropriate?
Nah, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
He
All
probably
right.
know how to erase these. things.
Anybody else check their kid
Yeah,
phone?
Oh, I don't know where to
checked,
look.
I checked. I forgot what I was doing, but yeah, I checked Tariq phone.
How old was he?
Teenager. I don't know, 14, 15 maybe.
Ain't no tough. My kids probably had all kind of
You
flimflammery
know,
going.
Hey,
I ain't never checked their
Me,
phone.
Right,
I
yeah.
think
That's
my
a good
wife
point,
did.
though.
I
At the
think my
age
wife got
he
somebody's
was.
phone once and checked and
I
came
did.
and said some not anything major, but I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I always feel like if it's gonna come out, it's gonna come out.
That's
There's
true.
no need for me to go looking for it because you're gonna look for what you're gonna find.
Maybe
what
it
you're
came
looking for.
out when he was late for curfew.
Yeah. No, I never did that, man. It's like, it's almost one of those things where if you make that mistake, I'm addressing it. So one thing I will say though is this: one thing is important for me to know. That's not really your phone. That's my phone.
Right.
That's
you
my
running
phone.
it like that.
You can use the phone. You know what I'm saying? But my point
It ain't
is,
their
I know what
bedroom
happened.
either, is
so
it?
when I talk, no, that's your
No.
bedroom. No, that's your bedroom. Not if you handling it inappropriately. No. You
Yeah.
know? But let me say this.
You about to get him going.
Actually, I mean, if I wanted to get technical, I'm gonna get the language part. I'm gonna be like, nothing is yours in this joint, right? For real.
Right. They don't
But
pay
in
no
terms
bills.
of the phone, my real message is you're using this phone, but it could be taken from you with the twinkling of an eye. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a resource that we providing for you. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I can't say. I think my only issue was like, why you on the phone too late at night? Did you do your homework? Or are you on your phone? That type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't really police social media and stuff like that. And I didn't see any behaviors outside of their phone world that gave me any alarm to question whether the phone was a problem. You know what I'm saying? But if it was a problem in her situation, first thing I'm doing is taking your phone away from you. I'm gonna remove it from you. I'm gonna give it back to you, but we're gonna re-engage and have to have some conversation about what this should be used for, what I shouldn't be seeing. If I tell you not to put a password on it, that's exactly what I mean. You know what I'm saying? And so the transparency alone make you guilty. You're not being transparent, but I can't say that I micromanaged it, but I know the potential risk of it. Like I just always feel just like we went and found, you said we didn't have social media, but we found what was available. We found the Playboys and the Hustlers.
Hey, even looking at the Jet Beauty of the Week, the
Same
Ebony
thing.
Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, my mama
Don't tell all the
Cosmo.
stuff. Tell all of it.
Cosmo.
Telling our
Cosmo.
secrets.
John
Hey.
was looking at Essence, Cosmo.
Hey, reading, man, trying to learn. And so when she says he's looking at women, I guess I would be more concerned if he was looking at pornography, and that
Well,
would
if
be
he looking
more
at
of a
women,
concern.
it's porn.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it is.
Not
Yeah.
necessarily.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it ain't.
I
know
man,
what I know.
Bikini
There's a
lad
thing
women.
called soft porn,
Bro.
Yeah.
right? You might be looking at soft porn.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, now I
maybe
got
maybe
a
some
quick
twerking
story
with
about
some
this,
thongs
right? I'm
on
not talking about
something.
social. Yeah, it's not talking
What
about
is that,
social
that
media,
soft
but
porn?
I had a work laptop at home, right? And sometimes the kid, they got jump on their computer not working, they got jump on your computer. So I told a story about everybody but my young God, the MC Haki, right? And so man, I had a little cousin that had come to visit, right? Man, I opened my laptop up at work, man. It was these warning signs coming up. Like, warning, your computer gonna shut down. You done visited these sites and all of this, right? Man, all kind of
Now, this your
porn
work
stuff.
computer?
Yeah. All kind of porn
They
stuff
about to
started
be
popping up,
fired.
right? And these messages pop up, and then
Yeah.
I seen, I think some pictures somebody was looking up Beyonce. I asked them, who did this? Man, I'm blaming my little cousin that come up and visit. Boy, they ain't raising that boy right. Oh my goodness. Because he was a little older too. He was a perfect scapegoat.
Uh-huh.
Man, he's not. Man, come on, man. It ended up, man. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm playing it up, right? It's my work computer, man. They about to fire me, all of this stuff. They can really look that up. I think it was Hakeem ended up giving up some kind of clue. It was or something like that, man. It ended up being just like a picture of Beyonce or something. But anytime you go to any sites looking for stuff, you got to potentially get a virus or all that shit. I didn't know what was going on. But scared the hell out of him. Like, man, I could get fired. You can go to jail. I think I was exaggerating some stuff, man. Like, this is, cyber crime or something. I don't know if I said it like that, but just
looking up a naked picture of Beyonce is not a crime.
I know. Then I wanted to say, man, yeah, Beyonce, yeah, I get it. Right?
I know what you're looking
like
at.
your taste.
Yeah. And the thing is, I ended up having my man come clean my laptop up and all of that stuff that's in IT. But the whole point was, it just made me think about, it wasn't social media, but it was just technology, period. Because that's the thing, man. Like now, you take the video game away from them, but they got an iPad.
Right.
You take the iPad away from them, but they can get on the internet using the PlayStation.
Hey, look, now,
you know what I'm saying? It's like
I caught myself just wanting my son to watch TV with me one time. Exactly.
Yeah. So
Now, when you say this is not your phone, I'm paying the bill. Just like it ain't their phone, it ain't their computer. One of the things that I would always tell my boys is to get this, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
This is a privilege to have this.
Right.
To be able to use as a tool or a toy.
Right.
And one of the things I learned from my Uncle Ed is he always would say, privileges abused or privileges misused are privileges you lose. All right? That's right. If you abuse it or misuse it, you're going to lose it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's what they got. I want them to be mindful of too. This is a privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
TikTok,
Not a right.
IG, Facebook, Twitter, all of that, all of this access, that's a privilege.
Yeah.
And so it extends beyond just this. Don't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Don't take advantage of that. And learn how to use these things in its proper context.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so just be very mindful of how you using these tools.
And we talking about looking up inappropriate stuff, right? Talik and Jay, I'm posing a question to y'all brothers, right? We talking about looking up inappropriate stuff, but what about this whole issue, man, where, like I'm telling you, my sons would tell you, I don't like to use the word hate, period, right? But I absolutely cannot stand the whole selfie thing, right? I get it. It's a new generation, but to me, it's vanity. If you always want to take pictures of yourself, right?
Gotcha.
And you got your lips turned up for our little females and turning their backside around, and the dudes flexing,
or your middle fingers up to the camera.
We got money in our hand and we flexing. So it's almost like they're able to be someone else on social media, right? So that's the other danger. What about Talik? What would you do in a situation where you saw Tyreek using social media in a way, right? Now we know Tyreek is a celebrity. I'm talking about as an adolescent, 12 or 13, he uses social media in a way, and you see him being tough on social media, talking ish to people. Because a lot of conflicts with our young people starting on social media, right?
That's correct.
So how do you feel about that thing, man? Because that's happening a lot.
Kind of like, we get away from this a lot, but that's dinner table talk. We sat down at the dinner table and we're gonna break it over bread, and and we're gonna discuss it. And I'm going, that world might be, that's kind of his generation, but I'm learning and hearing and stuff like that. And I'm gonna ask him, what's going on? Is anybody bothering you? Are they doing any social media bullying? And now you gotta boss up or something?
Right.
I'm gonna have that conversation to try to pull whatever in him, and then I'm gonna watch his body language, his posture and stuff. When you spend a lot of time with your kids or whatever, you know your kids, and even if you don't have a lot of time to spend with them, some of the characteristics come from you. Just DNA.
The
So-
Giannis.
And you know which ones they are.
And you know exactly which ones
and not
they
just
are.
the good ones.
Right? So I'm gonna dig in it. I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna say, look, this is not the way to handle things. And this image that you put here, you might be able to delete it off your phone, but this image is permanent. It's
is.
somewhere.
It is.
It might,
Yeah.
it's somewhere,
Yeah.
and not only that, there's a lot of things that the teenagers doing that that when they go to look for a job, when they get older, it might still be there to show up.
Yeah,
And
it's
now
somewhere, like
you got
said.
a whole nother beast.
Right.
You got a
Right.
whole nother beast,
Right.
You might was foolish at this age, and then you might have matured. But that's a whole nother beast.
And that's the
And
thing,
so I'm
yeah.
gonna explain all the importance to you right here in the season, but this ain't how we act,
Right.
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 So
Think
yeah,
about the people that like we watching the national championship game and a guy get an MVP, and then all of a sudden everybody go back to see who he is and start digging,
Yeah.
and then they pull out some quote that you put on Twitter when you was in 9th grade, and now you a 24-year-old
yeah.
senior.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is serious stuff
Right.
that we have to always teach our kids to be mindful of.
Right.
Because man, that stuff has
Man.
long-term impact and long-term consequences.
I always
Yes.
wonder, when they say God knows everything and the different scriptures say he got it all written down in the book. I was like, all he got to do is check everybody's social media. Thing. It's enough to send all of us to hell.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
that's what law enforcement doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
They,
Oh,
they don't
bro.
do the heavy lifting. They go,
Right. I mean, we talking about Atlanta, the whole social media thing, Young Thug and all of these rappers now, man, getting caught up in using social media and people telling their business and admitting the crimes and not knowing that they're admitting the crimes and didn't know you get in court, like you said, and they got your whole IG message joint sitting up on a PowerPoint in court.
And the prosecutor said, if they want to put it in songs and if they want to put it on Facebook and IG, I'm going to use it.
That's a fact.
Wow.
I'm going to use it. That's
Right.
what
Yeah.
she said.
That's
So
how-
they-
that's
they
happened with
brag.
Savage, right?
If
12
they
Savage
dumb
gets
enough to
100
do
though.
that,
Yeah.
then we smart enough to use
But
it.
my point is, they don't even think that stuff is real. Like, they don't even think these cyber worlds are real. And you literally can, like, you got people getting, what they call it, my man Manti Te'o, he got catfish.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, right.
Somebody post, you think you're talking to some beautiful woman and it's a dude.
Or the cop and
Yeah.
state
You
situation.
don't know. That's the danger, right? Now we talking
Say
about
cop and
sex
state. Cop and
trafficking.
state.
We talking about predatory men and women preying on young people.
that's right.
And can get our young people to get their address or something up. Man, that's the danger of telling what you got to tell your children about social media. It's wolves out here.
Whoa.
And they got access now. Everybody, that's what I remember they used to say when computers first came out, the IBM 666 model or something. They said, see, that's the end of the world. That technology going to be the end of the world,
Mm.
right? But one thing it did do, it brought all the freaks to one place.
Right.
They ain't got to find each other no more.
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, like,
They
you
got a
can
network.
find whatever you want to find,
Right.
and your children can find it. And so you got to police it, man. To me, it's not about crime, but I think at a certain age, if you do have a phone young, I don't think a periodic check is
Is
out
enough.
of the question at all.
Oh,
man.
Yeah,
to
that's
Make
true.
sure that
That's
stuff
true.
being-
Yeah, I said I never did it, but I ain't say I was
mean,
against it.
I'm getting on myself about it. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
because you probably need to check.
Yeah.
And I agree to check. However, this is what took place because he was a lot older than I think about it, because I don't really know exactly what's going on, but I knew it had to do something with a girl, and I wanted to go in his phone to see, and then I wanted to screenshot the picture, and I sent it to myself just for I need to know who she is. You know what I mean?
It was
'Cause
a
it-
message or a picture. Girl. You could
No, it was a
have jail
picture.
for that.
It was a picture. No, it wasn't nasty. It was just a regular
Okay,
picture.
good. Woo.
No, it wasn't
I'm
nothing
just-
nasty.
Hey,
Nah.
'cause that's
Right, right.
That'll be like a porn or something or
Because
whatever.
my sons, real
Right.
quick, don't forget your point, but they can tell you that they know dudes that in high school sending pictures of girls that they send them to, and you get charged with a sex crime, and you on a sex offender list.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Say what now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if a young person gets a
High school,
a
sophomore.
naked picture,
Mm-hmm.
right, of a high school girl, and they send it around,
Oh.
you're distributing porn,
Oh wow.
and you can get charged with sex sex crime, and dude is on the sex offender list.
Wow.
So that's something.
So
for
for our age, anybody that had the R. Kelly tape.
Yeah. And you dubbed it and gave it to somebody.
Right.
Exactly. If you
Wow.
had that R. Kelly tape, you had kitty porn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah. But now it's,
I didn't have to take.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So that was the thing. But the point I was gonna make, you know how you give your kid your phone or look at something. And, Dad, let me take a picture of something. I'm running out of space or something. He looked, Dad, why did you do this? Do what, son? Man, why didn't you just tell me that you wanted to see the girl? Like, and that could have been a serious issue where now we got trust issues.
Yeah.
Between my son where we got a really, really good relationship. Now all of a sudden, it's trust issues. Dad, you could have just came straight to me and told. Almost took like a parent standpoint. I said, well, you know how these kids now, you ask them something and they say, good.
You should have said,
But
I made a mistake because I thought you was like me.
I just had to check it.
But you know what's funny? I never checked my kid's phone, but I always let them know I would.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I trust my child.
I might go.
Yeah.
I might go in this.
Right.
And if I want to dig through this, I'm gonna dig through this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that was a real issue. Like I'm like, nah, I'm not against it. I didn't do it, but I always wanted them to believe that I would do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
and that's
I
enough
will do it.
sometimes. Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's the thing, man. I wouldn't like snoop. Well, I guess you would call it snooping, but sometimes you gotta check them. Just
It
like
ain't snooping. It's checking on their well-being.
just like I used.
Right.
I mean, I'll go.
Like
in the
checking
early-
their backpack.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
I was
exactly
just-
what I'm
I was just
saying.
about to
Like what?
yes.
Yeah.
Like what?
Checking
What'd
the
you say?
backpack.
I would
Oh.
go
Like
check
in
his
school.
backpack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I trust my son. I believe.
Trust but verify.
That's right. I believe
they
I put good values in him.
Yeah, and sometimes,
But at the same time, let's not just get so comfortable as a parent that you
Don't get
so,
caught slipping.
I trust you,
Right.
but I don't trust the world's influence on you sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Good.
and that will help me increase the trust actually, because you know what, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
Right.
I done checked 3 times, whatever amount of time. He right on target.
So is that how
I'm
you
good.
felt after you checked Gabriel's phone when he missed curfew?
Yeah, I did. Oh, either he covering up his tracks real well, one of the two. but
Covering his track.
yeah, at least he kept it classy. It was classy. So
And then this might be a little off, but talking about the bullying type situation, and it's so much cyberbully that's going on. As a person as an adult that's older, not understanding, the cyberbully. Our generation say, cut the computer off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's what we see.
And that's what we say, but it's something heavier there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's almost maybe equivalent to being stylists,
Mhm.
having the new Jordans and all this. Like, if you ain't on social media, you ain't cool,
Yeah.
So, we got to start thinking like them. Like, if I'm not on IG or TikTok or whatever they do, now I'm getting cyberbullied, and the reason I'm stirring away from that is because I'm scared, I'm fearful, and I have to stay on because then they gon' because they're all my peers around me on it. So
Yeah.
anybody got anything for that?
One thing you want to make sure, I believe, is that your child is not developing their self-esteem and how they feel about themselves from social media.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't need 1,000 likes or 1,000 comments to feel good about themselves. That's the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Obviously, from them being exposed to predators and somebody preying on them, you want to make sure their self-esteem is not being developed through social media. That's why
big right now.
we had that conversation about self-esteem and developing all of that. That's very important that they not getting it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the big thing for me, man, is I can't stand when I see somebody. If I follow you and I see your picture and you giving the finger,
Oh my goodness.
I immediately unfollow you. Because you talking to me.
Yeah.
You talking to me.
Right.
And what you put out there, you know, we got to think about it. Everything you put out there, it really is your personal brand.
Yeah.
You might not be selling anything, but you're selling yourself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Great
Your
point
personal
there.
brand. Your reputation get there long before you do.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
reputation will get there way before you do.
Yeah.
And so you got to be mindful of the image. Man, my son, it was like, Dad, I'm thinking about talking to this girl or whatever. You know what I mean? This was a while ago, you know. And I was like, pull her social media page up. Let me see it. Let me see it. And I look at her. You don't want no parts of that, son. Next one, let me see. Okay, you probably talk to her. You know what I mean? Right now,
Good point.
my oldest son, who broke up with his girlfriend 6-7 months ago, bro, she is literally destroying him on social media right now. Destroying him, trying to tear down his reputation, trying to tear down anything he ever built,
Wow.
trying to quote unquote expose him, saying all kinds of stuff about him. And the one thing I told my son, I said, man, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Don't worry about it. You know who you are. And he got
Absolutely.
tweets out there that, you know, he looking super confident in his tweets, you know. But the one thing I told him, it takes character to destroy character. You're going to have some character to destroy my character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She don't have it.
Great
so,
point.
that's not speaking on her. I don't know. But what I did tell him was, you know, I remember one time somebody told me that somebody said something about me. And it was like, ain't you going to check her? Like, man, I'm not talking to that person.
Yeah.
He was
Right.
like, why not? I said, because they don't have the character to destroy my character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when
Yeah.
they say something about me, you know what I mean? That person's immediately going to say, they gonna evaluate the source.
Yeah.
Now, trust me, there will always be fools that listen to fools.
Yeah.
There will always be that.
Yeah.
But you gonna have to have some character. So somebody can hear you say something and say, they're gonna assess you, and then they're gonna think about what they know of me. And they're gonna immediately say, that's nonsense. I'm not
Discount
buying
that,
that.
yeah.
You
discount
know,
that.
and in the case of him being an entrepreneur and all of that, though, man, I would be considered putting some paperwork on you. You keep on slandering me, that's a case.
Yeah, defamation.
Absolutely.
and
That's
whatnot, yeah.
defamation of character.
Absolutely.
And that's real in the business world. And
Yeah, that's real.
that's unfortunate, man. And that's the thing. It's a weapon. Social media, in addition
can
to
be
it can
weaponized.
be weaponized, man. And that's a powerful thing, and that is a good message to them because they tell the story about we heard the story, James and the Maz, about the donkey in the ditch. Everybody walking by throwing rocks at the donkey in the ditch, so they threw so many rocks, the donkey walked out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Shake
ain't
it
got-
off,
you ain't gotta worry
stomp it
about that.
down.
Yeah. Another aspect, we about midway, a little past midway, so I want to remind everybody, this is the B2M podcast. You can contact us on IG and Twitter at B2M Crew. We're here at the Code Building, co-working facility in Charlottesville. You all can check us out. We're about to have merch for sale. We just kind of keep this movement going of being authentic Black men that have a deep bond and connection, willing to be honest with everyone and share our experiences with life, because not enough of it is happening as Black men.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And the other thing I want to talk about in light of that, what I just said is this. James and John, I want to hear from y'all on this one is, the other part is with social media, what do you tell your child if you see them or have you experienced them spilling out on social media? Like,
Pouring their heart.
oh man, just some bad news, just oversharing stuff that we would say, man, you don't put that, you keep that to yourself.
Nah.
Kitchen
Right.
table.
You know what I'm
Wanna-
saying? Like,
yeah.
like it looks in my mind. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, and I don't have that experience with my fellas, but actually me and Amir, he was this is an example of what you can go wrong with it, because I saw him tweet something one time and I was like, yo man, you almost like, yo man, we don't put that out there like that, man. I'm joking.
Yeah,
And he really is, right? But we don't know. We like, man, I don't tell people my business like that or I don't
Right.
joke about it. So what do you think about the oversharing that can happen on social media?
Oh, a definite no. Definite. It's like if you wouldn't confide in someone, even your closest friend or even us as parents, I was, speaking to my child, why on earth would you go out and put that out to millions of people that have access to you through social media?
Right.
That
right.
would make no sense. So there would be a much deeper issue that my child has, and that I would definitely want to try to get him
Yeah.
or her some help with regards to talking that out and let them know that this is not the platform. Definitely not that platform to do that.
Yeah. You get some bad advice,
Bro,
from people,
nothing
Yeah,
worse right now, man, and I see it all the time,
Yeah.
man, is people discovering that their aunt or their uncle or their grandparent died on social media. You know what I mean?
Oh,
They
yeah.
hadn't received a phone call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But one of
That's
them
ridiculous.
15-year-old cousins that went on there and said Uncle so-and-so done passed, and now folks are discovering that Uncle so-and-so done passed because it done came up on their thread.
Yeah.
Right. And they didn't even
Bro,
hear it from the
that's
family.
devastating.
And
inside.
so like it's a balance, because our age, we like, nah, that ain't okay. But in their world, that is their world.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how in the world can you be like, hey, they putting on their praying hands, I'm praying for Uncle Rip so-and-so, and we like, whoa, don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's tough, man.
Yeah.
And so where's the balance between us being our age and our generation, what is appropriate and when,
Yeah.
and then 12, 13, 14, 18-year-olds putting up stuff that's certainly appropriate in their world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a story about that. When my son was a early high school teenager, starting to, play a little ball, do push-ups or whatever, took his shirt off and posted a picture, right? And I said, don't do that. And it's like, I'm a guy,
like
I'm
14.
a man, I'm a boy. Yeah. I said, listen, I know you're doing that trying to get to the girls, right? I said, but what you don't know, it's a 46-year-old man, a hairy, fat man squeezing one off to your picture. You know what I mean?
he ain't see that coming. Really,
So,
Dad?
Hey, look, that
Yeah.
put that image
That's
in
a good deterrent.
Yeah, I mean, he put his shirt on after that.
Right. And I said, listen, I understand you're proud of your progress. I said, and you want to get the girls, but this is not the way to do it. You show some respect for yourself, and you'll get the ladies, but just don't put that out there like that. It's not appropriate. It's not appropriate. If I had a daughter, it's not appropriate for you.
All right, I was about to say
Yeah.
the opposite of
Yeah.
of a daughter.
Right.
And most
Or the
times
same
it's easy
message.
to speak on the daughter.
Right.
And
It's
people
surprising.
and a lot of people will let the son get away with that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Bingo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real talk. I remember, kind of go back to what Wal was saying earlier. We got this show that we producing and stuff, and got something to do with college students, and my son was he was getting together and we was ready to cast for the show and stuff, and we needed a couple females and we needed a couple males and stuff, and my son was like, Dad, I got the cast. I said, well, you ain't share it with me. Like, let me see what they're about. Tell me a little bit about something. Oh, Dad, I got it. I say, nah, man, like, pull up the dudes. Let me see what they working with, what they doing. Let me pay attention. Are they positive? Not just for a little short period and for a season, like what they doing, And then, the guys turned out to be good, and then he come with the females. And the one girl, she was handling her business. She was a real business young lady, go-getter, and stuff like that. I was like, yo, she be perfect, right? And then the other one he showed, she laying on her back, butt tooted up. I'm like, yo, no. No, sir, brother.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hold on.
Well-
What's the show? What,
she might have been appropriate.
there may be a place for her somewhere.
We got to come up with another show.
And so I was like, son, she's nice looking, she's attractive, and that will draw, attention to the show. But at the same time, man, we trying to paint an image.
Her brand will represent your brand.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. And we don't want it to cross over in the brand. So no. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
So is this a thing that if we speak to this emailer or person that gave us the scenario, that if it's not put in check now, this is the result of this young lady being in that college age or whatever, that it may turn out that way, or
but you got yeah, it can, and I'd say why, because you got young ladies that making hundreds of $1,000s on OnlyFans, which is a social media thing, an online thing,
Millions.
where they got channels showing their body, getting naked, doing whatever they do on their fans. They got subscribers to their world. Parents might not even know about it. Some of them are, family might not even know about it.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I know a scenario where a guy I know, his daughter had a OnlyFans page, and he found out from one of his partners.
oh goodness,
You understand what I'm saying?
right? That
He
subscribed
didn't
or
know
something.
she was a whole character, bro. You know what I'm saying? He was like, oh no, that's such and so, the diamond, whatever.
Yeah.
She got a name and all that, making money, and so in that social media culture, sometimes to me, unfortunately, keeps promoting getting this bag, right? Everybody talk about getting the bag.
That's
looking
another
fly,
conversation.
Yeah.
doing all of that, and so it's just all of the messages about materialism, all of the isms, sexism, racism, all of that stuff that exists in society is amplified on social media.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if you're not, again, now they got mental health categories related to social media.
Right.
You
Do
know
they
what I'm
really?
saying? Yeah, absolutely. There's people that need therapy and counseling because
'Cause they ain't
they're
getting
saying
enough
they're
likes.
It's
accusing-
addictive.
They accuse the social media giants and owners of manipulating the self-esteem of young women and men.
A great documentary is called Social Dilemma on Netflix.
Okay.
If anybody get a chance to watch that, watch that.
Did you see it?
I saw
Can
it.
you tell me a little bit?
It's
tell us a little bit
phenomenal.
about
It is telling you how they make the algorithm to basically manipulate and control what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you may say, all right, I'm gonna put this down. They already know what you like because they see what you click on and what you touch.
Yeah.
And then they see your usage is down.
Yeah.
They'll start sending you images of what they know
Sending you
exactly
that
what you
dope.
want,
Right.
what you like.
Whoa.
You hit it. Dopamine hits,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so they talk about how it is designed to do that,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why, once again, we got to be mindful of what's happening to us.
And to reflect off of what he's saying, right now I'm reading a book. It's called Outwitting the Devil, right, by Napoleon Hill. It's part of our morning meetup conversation. And it's a conversation, and you definitely need to read this book. At first, it was such a difficult read for me, just because of the words they were using and my belief as a Christian. And I listened to the audio version, and I was fighting against it because I said to myself, I got to step out my comfort zone and develop myself in another area. So I've been testing myself this year. But to fast forward, in this book, when I was listening to the audio version, you could hear two different voices within the audio version. And I was a little confused. But then once I kept listening, I got clarity of everything. And what happened was it was someone interviewing the devil. And what you and it was asking the devil, how do you manipulate? How do you get into?
It's an
Someone-
interview to expose all the devil's tricks.
That's right.
And the devil is answering the question, saying, this is what I do to people.
Yeah.
This is what I do. This is what I do. This is what I do.
And
so,
impose, yep.
yeah, so it's a phenomenal book because it's just giving you perspective on how what causes people to make bad decisions.
Right.
You know what I mean? And what leads to bad decisions.
And what I was thinking when I was reading the book, and what was so difficult, great point you said, but what was so difficult, I didn't understand the book because it had like regular writing, then almost like typing writing. But once I listened to the audio version, I understood that one set of writing was the actual devil, and then the other was the person interviewing. So that's why I was confused with the my beliefs, because I'm reading what the devil said. I'm like,
Whoa,
I'm
God,
like,
hold up.
right, right. So in the titles, so it's great now. So I'm listening to
Outwitting
the
the
audio.
devil. I'm Napoleon Hill.
I'm reading the audio, and then I'm reading the print version.
So can we agree, or do we agree that social media can be the devil?
Yeah, it could be.
Absolutely.
Everything
It-
can.
Hey, but it also
used in the wrong.
and use
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
also can
And we using it for us, but we trying to use it for positive.
Right.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So you
right.
can use it for foolishness, or you can use it for
and
positive.
it's helped certain countries, right? I don't want to say overturn governments or anything like that, but
What they call it, the spring that
Right.
happened, like in countries like
Arab
Tunisia.
Spring. something
yeah,
like that.
bring
Yeah,
attention to certain things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but the thing is, man, when we talk about the dangers back to, living your life out front and everybody for social media and the algorithms. I read an article when I was looking into Facebook advertising, and the guy said the algorithms know more about you than you know about yourself.
Goodness. Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They know more about you than you know about yourself. And one of the things, what do you all think about strategies that people talk about? Like, for example, one of the things I've been trying to practice lately is I read that, you know how as we age, man, it's hard to get a straight 6-7 hours of sleep. You getting up. I don't care if it's a bathroom, something getting you up.
Right.
Every night I got a different reason why I can't sleep. But anyway, the first thing we want to do is grab our phone.
Right. That's crazy.
Right? And they say when you do that, you waking your brain up, and the light from your phone is gonna make it difficult for you to go back to sleep.
Yeah,
So one of
that's
the things
real.
I've been trying to do for myself is, okay, I'm not gonna touch my phone when I get up. You know what I'm saying? And,
Not
and it
first
does,
thing,
and it
yeah.
does help, right? But what I'm saying is, what am I addicted to? What they saying on Twitter? What's the latest news on this? I'm a news freak, right? So for me, and that's the problem is the internet is the quickest way to get news. And I remember there's an article we use in the 11th, in the school system, preparing 11th graders for a state test. There's an article that talks about, they have to write about it, how because of social media, that's why they call it social media. Media, right? Not social platform, social media.
News.
Now everyone is a journalist.
Mm.
Wow.
Because as soon as something happens, the phones are out showing the police scene before the police show it. We out like this. There's people, tragedies happen. People like this not even helping.
People drowning, people record.
Yeah, right. So that's our addiction to that device. So now we're all journalists. And so that's the other thing you want to share to me with your children is like, listen, because of social media, you got to be extra mindful of what you're doing out here. It's eyes on you everywhere.
You need to
and
believe
it
you're
looks-
always being
and
watched.
perception can be reality for the police or anybody else. Like back to the point, they see you tweeting something later, man. So, our addiction to it as a culture. What y'all think about people that say, hey, you should just take time. Like when we wake up in the morning, my wife was sharing with me like a reel she saw, and the lady said, we don't even go look at ourselves before we look at our phone in the morning, in the mirror.
Yeah.
So should we take breaks?
Yeah.
Should we try to balance it a little
Absolutely.
Well, just a small tip, a real small practical thing is don't sleep within arm's reach of your phone.
bit? Yeah.
Don't sleep within arm's reach of your phone. Put it somewhere where you got to get up to go get it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Put
That's
forth
a
effort
small
to get
tip.
yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
wild. That's kind of stuff they say about your gun.
Yeah.
Don't have your gun near you. Make sure you got to make 2 moves before you get it.
Hey, bro.
Both of them
Yeah.
can be,
yeah.
both of them can take your life.
That's the metaphor, right?
Yeah.
I've literally, it's the thing. You ever feel like your leg is vibrating and your phone not even in your pocket?
Right. Yeah.
That's a real thing. It's like phantom vibration or something like that.
Right. Yeah. That's
You're
right.
having withdrawal from the phone at night, ain't you?
Yeah, I mean, I just walk around and I feel like something going on, but it's not.
Right,
You
I've
know,
had that.
Especially like you got a situation where you got your work phone and your personal phone.
That ain't that sex toy you forgot to put away.
But before we wrap up on this, though, I think it's also important that even as our children grow older, even as a young adults, it's still important to kind of check in with them on some of the stuff they may be posting on social media.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
reminder.
And I thought of that only because one of my oldest, Michael, a few years back, my wife and I noticed how he used to post a whole lot of like where he was drinking. Man, you know what I'm saying? He may have been heavy in drinking, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And he was posting like liquor bottles and what it is he might be drinking or about to, turn up with, drinking and what, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, yo, is something going on? So that made me reach out. Hey, son, you good? Maybe check in on him to see if why, he posting all of this and looking like he getting, he's seeking refuge in the bottle, so much so and whatnot.
Yeah.
Thank God he's, kind of learned from that. And I think that was just a stage.
What did he say?
in the
He was just
period.
in the partying stage, and that's what
it was,
going
yes,
on.
it was just that.
Well, but it
as
won't
to
really
what-
no real issue.
No, well, coincidentally, that period is something that happened just before he, caught a little trouble with the law and everything. And so again, I think
That
all
was
of
a
that
symptom.
experience helped him.
Yeah, that was symptom.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that helped him to then be a lot better at it as he, as he's maturing, having his daughter. Oh my gosh, I'm a grandfather. But anyway,
You are.
and whatnot, as well as then, I love what my other oldest son, Carter Gray, shout out young man, performer and whatnot, and what he's doing. And sometimes we can also sense what he might be going through with some of the stuff he posts. I wouldn't say oversharing, but he has done that. And so we kind of have to
Yeah.
reel him in sometimes as well. And then Caden, K Moore, he's trying to, he's working with some different things through the little AI thing that that changes his image a little bit, and so it's just different things that they may post that kind of gets your attention, is that
Yeah, you
kind of
like,
check
whoa,
in
you
and say,
alright?
hey,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
now he's also doing his little music stuff as well,
You
and
gotta
that's
pay
kind of cool.
attention, man. You don't.
And so
That's back to what
Not
we
only
said.
at
We
12,
take it outside of social
21.
media. Joaquin was like, you got to be
30.
engaged in what your children doing.
Right.
Yeah, you got to know that stuff, man.
Not
But
just in the classroom, but in social media as well.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
bro.
know. I always tell Tyreek, my son always do this one on me. He'll do something. Dad, go like my post. I said, man, look, man.
He tell you to go like it.
Look, you right here, son. I like and I support you. I understand that's your business, but man, get validation right here first.
Right.
And so many times, man, this is what's real.
Yes.
This right here might be the world, but it could be an illusion.
Mm.
And I'm letting them
There's
know,
that
son,
devil.
I support you. I believe you. You know what I mean? I believe in you. And that just go like my post. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, look, I like your post.
Celebrity.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't need no damn speech.
I like your post, but I just want to let him know, I'm the first one that's going to support you. When he wrote a book, I'll buy 10 copies. I'm the first to buy 10 copies. When he had his shirt brand, I'm the first one. I'm always want to beat whoever, I mean, everybody else got an opportunity, but I say, when you get it in, here. You know what I mean? I'm paying you for it come. So I'm letting you know I believe in you.
And I think he takes that to heart, but he also wants the world to know that Dad
Yeah.
supports me too.
Quick note, Chubb. Let me ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
How do you teach the kids to discern fact from fiction?
Wow, man.
Because
Right.
that's
Bro,
a
this
real issue, man.
we
Yeah.
about to wrap. I'm gonna say
Oh,
real
I'm
quick.
sorry, I done
Real
asked.
quick though.
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
say
That's
this.
good, though.
We could have gotten into this in our education conversation, man. I'm happy to say that right now, in the school district that I work for, I implemented this year something called lateral reading. Lateral reading from 2017 to now, researchers consider it the post-truth era
Mm.
because of mis and disinformation has become the norm of the day in media. So lateral reading teaches kids how to discern fact from fiction with online resources. So I put a series of modules in they developed in Stanford so that kids lead the world, because it's in the end, and I'm gonna short this in, I want to continue this in another episode. It's the difference between your child being someone that's a tool and your child being someone that can master the reality we living in. Because if you don't know how to discern fact from fiction online, everything looks credible,
Yeah.
Right.
right? And if we don't in schools, build digital literacy in to discern fact from fiction, our children will be victims of missing disinformation for the rest of their lives. And that's a valuable skill. And we'll wrap it up with that. But I do want to ask John, can you sum up? You do a great job always summing up our tips to parents regarding the scenario.
Yeah, it's just have standards, and so we have standards in our household before we leave the house, how we conduct ourselves at school, at church, at the mall, if we playing ball. So those standards continue in the social media as well,
Right.
So always respect yourself, respect others, act accordingly. You can have fun, you can laugh, you can be cute if you want to, but it's all in the way how appropriate way to do it.
Excellent. All right, folks. So that wraps it up for this episode with the B2M Crew podcast. Again, we chopped it up. 5 brothers with over 40 years of friendship and brotherhood, 100 years of marriage, 13 children, 12 being boys. And, that's what we share with you all today. Waki, take us out with that awesome quote from Frederick Douglass, brother.
In the words of Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. We out.
We out of
Peace.
here. We out of here.
And I won't stop until I'm winning. I'ma show them how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I'm finished with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute. And I won't stop until I'm winning. They don't want me in the office cause I